Here we go. Do 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 do. Hey everyone, welcome back to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire, and if you're just joining us for the very first time, you know that we typically rant about comic, movies, or game stuff. Tonight be gaming. Joining me today is Wesley Rusher. Wesley, say hi.
Hello.
Also joining in is Ashley West. Ashley, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Good. So we're gonna talk some gaming news, some gaming stuff. Wesley, you joined in this week.
I did. I remembered.
So nice of you. We missed you.
I apologize. I just got really caught up in Bloodborne, which we can talk about later.
He
But yeah,
missed the gaming podcast because he was gaming. So that's worthy. You know, I think that's fair enough. So let's just start off first. Ashley, you want to pick one of your topics or whatever you want to do? I don't care.
Uh, let's
Grab something.
see.
The board is up.
Well. Okay. Well, how about this? What are you guys most excited for in 2016, or curious about, or are there any wild cards you think that are out there?
Wesley?
oh man, there's already a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. I mean, a lot of AAA games. I'm looking for. I think the game though I'm looking most forward to is whatever the new Legend of Zelda game is going to be on the Wii U.
Good
It's
call.
supposed to be end of the year, and I don't know. From what we've seen, it looks gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot out there. Just Link on a horse riding through some really lush fields with where you can see, is that Mount Doom in the back and all that stuff. But
You
I'm looking
can eat
forward to more
apples
about
off the
that.
tree, Wesley. You can eat
Oh
apples off the
yeah,
tree. I can't wait. It's a good call. There's no release date of that too, right? They haven't.
I don't think so.
Mm, mm.
But I know. Do you think now? Hold on. The NX, is that a thing this year? Or is that going to be
You're talking about
2000?
the Nintendo NX, right?
Yeah, yes. And if it is a thing this year or next year, do you think Zelda is going to come out on it?
I
Wesley?
think they'll, I feel like they'll do the same thing they did with the Wii and the GameCube. If they're close enough to launch, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't maybe have Zelda ported to the NX as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have a little bit spiffier version. So it'd be interesting to see. Um, let's say have a complete wild card and have something crazy like a brand new Mario. So who knows?
Yeah.
I'm curious about the release dates because the Zelda Twilight Princess HD game comes out when? March or
Yeah,
May?
like March 4th. I believe March 4th. I got an email from my pre-order saying that the date had changed, in which, from what I believe, I think it went up even a week. I think it was supposed to be like mid-March. Now it's March 4th.
You almost would have thought that would have been a holiday game, given. So let's say that game comes out in March. Then that means Zelda for Wii U or even NX can't ship until at least September, right?
You would think they'd want to put at least 6 months between them. They did kind of the same thing with Wind Waker, and then there was also a Link Between Worlds. I think those were both in the same year.
Yeah, I don't know if they consider the mobile though, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. So that's a good pick though, the Zelda. Yeah, yeah. For me, Oculus Rift. Already got mine pre-ordered. So screw you, internet. No, I'm really excited because I've been wanting to play this game on there called Lucky's Tale for like a year or two now. It's basically the NX. Sorry, the NX. Wow, brain slip. Basically, the Oculus is shipping in the same manner in which the Nintendo 64 shipped. Expensive and with two games. Can't wait. Like, like it's got a platformer called Lucky's Tale and a space game, Eve Valkyrie. So a flight game and a platformer, just like my Nintendo 64 shipped in 1996. And I can't wait. So I'm the most looking forward to, other than possibly the NX itself. Even though I could have sworn I just bought a Wii U, like that thing's not even 3 years old yet, right? Like 2013
Yeah.
November. So if the NX ships this year, have they ever? that's the shortest ever, right? Like,
I think it's because the sales have been so. I mean, I didn't buy one. I wasn't. Honestly, I kind of wasn't even aware that it was out until like a year and a half in. I think I was like, oh, there's another Wii console out.
that's
Like, I don't
crazy,
know.
really.
Yeah, so I'm like actually looking forward to the NX. I don't know. Just the Wii U never really was like. I was just like, whatever.
Which is a shame because it has like some great software on it. Like it
Yeah.
really, I mean, it really does. Like I think, when I actually stood out in front of the Best Buy for the Wii U, and there was me and three other hardcore people, and everyone was like, "What are you waiting for? The Wii U?" They're like, "Huh?" Like
Yeah.
the what? We're like, yeah, it's gonna be HD Nintendo game. We had just were drooling. We couldn't wait. And honestly, it really felt like the system probably should have waited until 3D Mario Land or Mario World was ready to ship,
Hmm.
because the 2D Mario game was cool, but not quite what we were all hoping for. So, how about you, Ashley? What game are you most looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to a lot, and there are some big names out there. Drake's Fortune, Uncharted 4, but everyone's kind of like, oh, But what I'm really curious about is Battleborn, because it it looks like it has a lot of potential, but I've heard a lot of like negative things about it. Kind of like obviously it's by 2K, which is the same I guess publisher and developer, Gearbox Software. So same publisher or same developer as Borderlands. So the writing is really great and the characters are pretty good, but basically the play isn't cohesive. They had a lot of problems with the melee combat, whereas like you were so close to the enemies that you weren't sure if your attacks were sticking, and you didn't have the broad scope of the battlefield to kind of like get your bearings. So kind of like the range, the characters with a lot of range were I guess the better characters, and they said multiplayer was okay, but still not that great. And originally the release date was going to come out February 9th, but I just looked and it got pushed back to May. So hopefully they're taking everybody's advice and really fixing those problems. So I'm
So
curious.
I'm really interested in this, right? Not so much Battleborn, but the fact that, and I'm looking at it now, I got it popped up on the screen. So this year alone, we're getting how many first or third person team based MMO light games, right? We got
Yeah,
Battleborn,
like MOBAs.
MOBA. So Battleborn, Overwatch, Gigantic.
Yeah.
There has to be another
Uh,
one, right?
there's Paragon, which is
It's four.
that's the Epic Games one, and I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a few we're
I
missing
I
too.
gotta be missing one. There has to be another. Like I just and this what kill like what's interesting is this is basically like Team Fortress 2 mixed with League of Legends in a way, right? Or it's the Team Fortress Counter Strike that thing, right? That Valve started finally has taken off. And it's really interesting. I mean, every one of these, they almost look interchangeable. If you put Battleborn next to Overwatch, the average person will not be able to tell the difference. I mean, it looks like the same game, at a glance. So, um, I like the characters. I'm glad to see colorful imagery and colorful character designs come back. As an artist,
Yeah.
that Street
Me too.
Fighter, yeah, that Street Fighter kind of mentality to character design. So I'm excited about that. But I have a question for you, Ashley. Why Battleborn more than say Overwatch? Or have you even seen Gigantic? Or do you
I've
know?
seen Gigantic. I'm probably seen Overwatch, but it's not ringing. I just can't visualize it. But I've seen Gigantic, and I guess Battleborn because I'm like familiar. Like I played Borderlands and stuff, so I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm familiar with that. Like I might really like that. Whereas like Gigantic, I don't even know if Gigantic is coming out on PS4. And if it's not coming out on the PS4, I kind of just put it aside because I know that I can't really play it because I only own a PS4 right now. Like as far as the next gen consoles go.
Let's look.
So yeah, let's look.
No, Windows 10 and Xbox One. So
See, I
sadly,
thought that was it.
but Overwatch is from Blizzard. And we had this conversation a little bit, I think last. No, actually, I was having it on the podcast the other night when I was drawing. Someone asked me about what I thought about Overwatch, and I was thinking that I felt that it might be that game that Blizzard makes that finally transcends. uh, the game itself. Like, what do I say that?
Gigantic or Overwatch?
Overwatch. That for
Overwatch.
Overwatch.
Blizzard, like, okay, I think with what Blizzard's made with Overwatch, like that could actually work as a Pixar kind of animated film. You know, like more than Warcraft or anything else they've done. Like I feel like the characters, the look of this, even that first they did this video, it was like it looked like a Pixar movie, right, Wesley?
Yeah, it was like kids. It was like kids in a museum looking at these, past heroes, and then the Overwatch people show up, and go to battle like in front of the kids.
And this will be on PS4. Yeah.
Yeah, that game, I played the beta on PC on Overwatch, and I was running like mid-tier graphics, and it looked gorgeous. Like the art style was fantastic. The frame rate was super smooth, and I can only imagine how much better it looked. I mean, I doubt it would look that much better, but just things like particle effects and lighting and things I was missing out on because my rig's not. It's getting old, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty game, and
Yeah.
same with Battleborn. And I think what's cool about Battleborn is that game started off multiplayer like only, and they added the single player into it afterwards, which is kind of funny. Which most games shoehorn in like the multiplayer. So that being Gearbox's strength, I think maybe some of the critiques they were having, they were looking for a way to make the game more approachable to their previous fan base, people who like the Borderland games.
Well,
Right.
I watch BlizzCon, like I stream it. I don't go because I people. But but I like to stream it, and every year it's like diminishing Diablo 3 news, because like everything else is taken off, and Diablo 3 is kind of like come down. And I was like, damn, there's nothing in it for me yet at BlizzCon. But Overwatch, like really caught my eye last year. So this year I'm like, I want to know everything about Overwatch they had, and they were showing off animation and some comic stuff they're gonna do in house, and I'm like, I want fucking action figures. Like this is the first thing I've seen, man, I want to say in a long time. Like maybe even since Team Fortress 2. Like I always want when I first saw Team Fortress 2, I was like, I want those as action figures now. Like just the design of them, the shapes, the hands, the gloves, you know. And these characters, man, it looks really good. So yeah, it's going to be a good showdown between Battleborn, Overwatch, and that Gigantic. I feel really bad Gigantic is an Xbox One exclusive because I think only Wesley can play it, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wesley and 90 people in Japan. So
Yeah.
'99.
When is the release date for Overwatch?
I shall look right now.
Because I
Uh,
saw in there, well, I looked, but it didn't have it like right on, like,
I don't
and
know. They're gonna do another beta pretty soon,
oh,
so
yeah, they're only talking about
yeah,
beta right now.
yeah, but that does look like a game I would enjoy. I looked at some of the images. And,
I would think it's probably like September-ish.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, closer to a BlizzCon time frame. Are they doing? They're doing BlizzCon this year, Wesley? They doing
Yeah,
that?
I don't think that. I'm pretty sure. They only skipped that one year when they were hunkering down on God
Oh,
knows what.
I think I have seen Overwatch. This robot with the orbs floating around his head. I've seen that before. Okay, no, I have read about this game. Okay.
And you like the
Perfect.
giant gorilla
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh,
He
yeah.
the
likes
spider,
peanut
the
butter.
spider, the spider-looking sniper
Finally,
chick.
my memory was jogged.
Peanut butter. I'm a big fan of peanut butter, so me and the gorilla, we speak. So, alrighty, Wesley.
Wesley.
Wesley, bring something up. Your turn.
Hey, really quick, GameStop has Overwatch as June 21st. I don't know if that how solid that date is, but
Okay. No,
I'll believe it when I see it.
it's something. Yeah. When the game is in your hands and you're playing it.
Yeah. All right, Wesley, go ahead. Pick a topic.
I think I want to talk about probably the two games I went through over the holidays, which was I went through a few, but Lara Croft Go and Rise of the Tomb Raider, both those games, and I even played a little bit of the latest Guardian of Light, whatever the current one was called, and really just thoroughly impressed with how well they're making like Lara Croft games. I even played her runner game on mobile, and it's like every single game that's come out with Lara Croft in it has been really good. And even though they're spreading out, her IP and trying to make her, bigger again, like the quality's not going down. Like all these teams are really nailing like what's cool about this character in the world.
I did feel, even though it was an Xbox One exclusive, Rise of the Tomb Raider, that was a crying shame that got crushed by the onslaught of Fallout 4. when it came out, Fallout 4, if people don't know, Tomb Raider was released at the same weekend Fallout 4 came out. Nobody talked about Rise of the Tomb Raider. But it's pretty fantastic. And I'm with you. Like, that Guardians of the Light has the stupidest name ever. Sounds like a bad soap opera featuring Lara Croft, you know? But the first one came out, and it's this isometric Diablo kind of shooter game that you could play cooperatively. I got it on the original 360 or my PS3, and I had a fantastic time with it. It was a lot of fun. Played right through it like probably 4 times. So I haven't had a chance to go through the sequel yet.
Yeah, that one's called Temple of Osiris.
Temple of Osiris. So haven't had a chance to go through the sequel yet, but does it hold up? Did they?
I've only played a little bit, but it feels more of the same. But this one actually supports 4 player now, so you can even bring in more people, which is pretty cool. And then it has that that mix of Diablo, twin stick shooter, but also the puzzles of Tomb Raider, which at its heart is kind of like what the game's always been mostly about.
You know what I would love to see a return to, folks, is 4 ports on my consoles. You know, just 2 extra ports so I can plug in and support more 4 player local co-op games. I mean,
But they're all wireless, dude. You don't need ports.
you know what I'm talking about. I want the fucking port. No, first off, right? You know the problem with wireless gaming? You run out of batteries every time you go to play. That's
Oh,
my fucking problem. Like every time I go to play, I'm like, oh, the battery.
mine too.
Yeah, so then I just end up plugging it in anyway. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that's cool. And
And
then go
I
ahead.
was gonna say the cord is too short, like most of the time, unless
Well,
you get, I guess, one that's
the Sony
special
one
link.
is a nibby. Like it's
Yeah, I have to like sit close to the TV, and I don't hate it.
it's not even good to recharge your 3D glasses. It's
See, they need
horrible.
to make a controller that as you press the buttons, like you are building energy in the controller and it just constantly is charging itself.
You should hook up with Tesla. And you can Iron Man it, Wesley. So how is Lara Croft Go? That's based off the Hitman Go series,
Yeah,
right?
so that is another isometric, but this one's strictly like a puzzle game. You have like a board. It kind of, I guess originally Hitman Go was kind of how that team designed Hitman games, was they would lay out these boards and just here's where the characters go and here's where we're going to have guards, and then they take it the next step further and actually make it a 3D game. But with Lara Croft Go, you are in these awesome tombs, and as you move, there'll be enemies, and you have to figure out like the best pattern. You can only kill enemies from the side or the back. If you approach them from the front, you get killed. There'll be traps, like maybe falling boulders, or the floor is going to break if you move over the same spot twice. So you have to figure out how to get to the end of each room. But what's really cool about Lara Croft Go is while Hitman Go, it looked like a board game as you just moved this figure that was, Agent 47. In Lara Croft Go, she's fully animated. She does her flips. She'll even do, when you climb up to a ledge, she'll do that like gymnastic, bend over that she would do sometimes.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just a really cool game. It's just, it's something you can easy to play on your phone, or tablet. It's challenging. The puzzles get really hard, especially there was a free extra like 10 levels that came out by the time I had downloaded it. And they really, had my head scratching because not every level wasn't just get to the end, but it was do it in a certain amount of moves. There was extra objectives you could do to, extend the life. So it wasn't, you could challenge yourself even more, which, was kill all the enemies or get through the level without killing any enemies. And then on top of that, hidden in the background, kind of like one of those hidden eye games, would be treasures, and you'd have to like find them in each area. And they just unlocked alternate costumes, like her wetsuit and different Tomb Raider classic costumes.
How long do you think before Telltale makes a Lara Croft game? Like, you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't be such a bad idea at this point. Perfectly honest. I mean, I play every one of those Telltale games, and I think if the Minecraft thing takes off, Microsoft would be in a good position to maybe help.
Yeah, that game's doing well. My nephew, who's 7, is playing that game, and that's the first Telltale game he's playing because of Minecraft. So they're introducing like a whole new market to their games that are only gonna then go back and maybe as they get older, want to try some of these other games later down the road because they like the Minecraft story game.
Yeah, it's funny. They did a good job. So, but I would like to see Lara Croft in a point and click adventure like setting as well. I think it works. The storytelling, like, I'm looking forward to when Rise of the Tomb Raider shows up on PS4 so I can enjoy it.
Yeah,
While
I
you're
mean, it hits
exclusive.
hits PC later this month, so I mean, at least there's a whole nother, group of gamers that will get a chance. It was great. It was just more of the Tomb Raider reboot, but bigger environments and more tombs. Like that was the real downfall of the last game. As much as I enjoyed her whole coming of age story of becoming this Tomb Raider, there wasn't really any tombs. There'd be like a cave and one simple puzzle.
Almost
And
like
then this one,
the name in the last one should have been Rise of the Tomb Raider, really, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Now Tomb Raider forever. Ooh, the fourth game. So let's move on, man. That's good. Good call, Wesley. Good call. So basically, Lara Croft is doing what Sega doesn't with Sonic, right? Like,
They're
see what
just
I
doing
did?
it. Crystal Dynamics is doing a great job with their properties.
Why
So
can't they bring
I
back
guess it's
Gex? Hmm?
so one thing Square Enix, I guess, is
Why can't they
do
bring back
they get
Gex?
credit, right?
Yeah, they get credit. Squeenix. Did they sell their 5 million copies, Wesley? That's what we gotta know. Oof,
I heard they
Square.
hit 1 million, so that's good.
Four
And the
more to
game
go.
did get, after the Fallout 4 hype died down, when the awards started coming out, it pretty much across the board was the Xbox One Game of the Year.
Well, that's like almost 1-to-1, right? Like everyone who bought an Xbox bought a copy of Tomb Raider. So
There's there's close to like 20 million Xbox Ones out there.
in our
It's
hearts,
just the
in our
Japanese people. The rest of the Western Hemisphere is okay with this console.
we like our Tomb Raider in 700p. You know, that's how we roll. All
Yeah,
right.
that was the only really quick. That was the only thing that was like hard to swallow when I'd go back to other games. Is that game runs at 30 frames, and I get spoiled with games like Halo that run at 60. And when you're playing it, you don't notice it, but then you hop into something else, you're like, whoa, wow, this game's so much smoother. And
What
it'd be
if
really funny.
Microsoft, when they release their next system, just goes from Xbox One to Xbox 10? You know, they just skip all the other numbers in
Let's say go
between.
to Xbox 9 to make up for the lack of Windows 9.
All right, my turn. So I want to talk to you about some more nostalgic gaming sort of stuff. Shenmue 3. So if y'all aren't aware, Shenmue 3 was successfully kickstarted this past year. I helped back it. God, how much did they raise, Wesley? Like 10 million, 6 million, 10 million, something like that?
Between it was like 6 point something, but it was the most successful Kickstarter to date, raised the most money. And then they did even more crowdfunding through like PayPal and stuff. So they raised like another couple million with that on top of it.
So all of us are scared shitless they're gonna fuck it up somehow, and you know, like you only hear folks, you only hear about it when games go wrong on Kickstarter. When games go right, no one gives it praise. Like when Divinity wins RPG of the Year, oh, when Kickstarter, we don't mention that. Undertale's another great example of a game no one wants to mention. Shovel Knight, you know, all Mercenary Kings. So you know, but this game has to succeed. Broken Age,
Yeah.
we've had that conversation. But Shenmue 3 has to succeed, and they sent screens. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these up. Hopefully, I don't get a DMCA for it, because you know how this comes from Hardcore Gamer, right, Wesley?
Yeah, a bunch of sites picked it up, but that site had just literally a little bit of text and boom, here are the shots. So
Yeah, they made it
they
the
win.
easiest to get to.
They win.
And so what we're looking at is Unreal Engine 4, basically. Like that's what it kind of looks like to me. Um,
Should probably bring it up too, so I know what I'm looking at.
yeah. So the looks like a pretty. I mean, look. It's always gonna have an indie look to it, right? It's a $6 million small team game. So surprisingly, you know, I definitely it's got to be Unreal Engine 4. So
Are
I
you sure it's
mean,
not there? It's like, what if it's the original engine, just up-resed, just
there's no lighting
Dreamcast?
in Shenmue. It's impossible. Like, I wish
Okay.
they would. See, here's my thing about this, right? Empty shadows, water ripples, and grass and stuff, and the wind. And Ashley, you can click on the link in there if you want to look at it. Um,
Yeah.
I wish they just continued. Like, I guess there's no way to port the Dreamcast. They don't even have the source code, right? Hmm. I wish it looked just like Shenmue 1. Like, because the game takes place in the 80s, the game takes place in 1986. Shenmue 1 did. Did Shenmue 2, that continue the same year? Did it move it a year forward?
Yeah, within well, it took place over in China, like because the first one ends with him flying to like Hong Kong or something like
It
that.
was the same year, right? So roughly
Yeah,
86,
it's
87.
all within the same time frame. Yeah.
It would be great if they just kept that engine running. You know, like don't update it. Just build content and more story and more scenarios, you know? Um, because I will say this. When you have unrealistic looking characters with semi-realistic lighting or default lighting, it can look a little uncanny valley-ish. Like, 'cause right now they notice they don't show you the faces because it might creep you the fuck out. Like,
They just look little like statues right now. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think the
that's what I
other
see.
thing is going to be like how good is the animation going to be too?
But see, if they kept it looking like the original Shenmue, and I'm gonna bring that up. Like if I just type in Shenmue, let's say Shenmue 2, right, on the Xbox, so we can sort of get a feel for what that looked like. Um, oh, that was on Dreamcast as well, right? I thought it was just on Xbox. Oh, it was only released
It was
here on
on
Xbox.
Dreamcast, but yeah, not here. I think Europe may have gotten it, but it never came to North America.
See, I wish they would just keep it looking like that. Like, fuck it. I mean, because indie games they can look retro, man. Like it's fine. This is still an indie game unless they got 20 million in funding somewhere we don't know about. Um, so I don't know. How do you feel? I'm lukewarm on the screenshots right now. I really need like an animation to feel how it's gonna run or something, Wesley. But what do you think?
So far, so good. I mean, it captures the Shenmue vibe. It feels like Shenmue. I mean, it definitely looks better than as I'm looking at these old screens do. So, and I don't expect it to, have Uncharted 4 level of facial animations and detail. So,
Yeah. I like I said, I just I'm scared to death right now. Like I want to believe it that they can pull it off, and I'm giving them my money. I'm putting my money down. I think they could do it, but whew, it is nice to see them not building an engine from scratch. I guess that's a relief. If there's anything to say about it, John Chepenik, Wesley?
I do not.
He was a writer,
Oh,
Hardcore
okay. I know.
101.
I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about now.
he does these really great interviews over in Japan, and he did this whole interview recently with the Japanese, the guy, the representative for Epic Games in Japan, talking about why why the Japanese developers are just now coming around to using Unreal and why they didn't before, how they always believed that they had to build their own engines from scratch, which explains Square a whole lot. And now they're like, wow, we can actually use middleware engines and cut out 3 years of development and get on to making the game, and it's okay. Like it's all right. So that's a bump. That's a plus. That's a plus. But yeah, Ashley, you have any opinion on this? You even know what Shenmue is? Like,
No, I
no.
don't. I just saw on one you're like clicked on one of the images online. It was like Shenmue is all right, and so I'm like, if you ask me, I guess it's all right. Like, so I don't know.
Shenmue is sort of like the original 3D Grand Theft Auto in a way. I hate to say that. Really, what Shenmue did is it kind of brought us QuickTime events. You know that thing where you just press a button in a game when things happen, like in Uncharted, right? When Nate's
Yeah,
punching someone, you got to hit a button at a certain time.
or what is it?
God of War.
Kingdom Hearts 2 does it with
It is.
the
This all comes from Shenmue.
triangle.
Like
Yeah, okay.
Shenmue. I
No,
mean, technically Dragon's Lair. Okay, fuckers. I know y'all
okay.
out there. The fans scream. Oh,
I
Rob,
like Dragon's Lair.
right.
I never played that game, but going off on a tangent, never played that game, but I did watch it on YouTube one time. Just watched the whole thing. Just watched him go, ah!
Go up an elevator and down an
Yeah.
elevator and back up an elevator and back down an
Yeah.
elevator. All right. So technically that started it, but Shenmue was the one where it blended it into a game and gave us this realistic setting where you could wander around, talk to people. No one knew what to think of it, right, Wesley? Like no one knew, is it an RPG? It was pitched at the time, the Sega Virtua Fighter RPG, that it was going
Hmm.
to be a fighting game RPG. And then they got this game where the fighting mechanics were really replaced with the QuickTime events because they wanted it to feel more cinematic, which I can't
On
blame
some
them.
level, that's not. I mean, not every scene. There's still standard like virtual fighter fights where you'll fight like two or three guys.
There's a part where I spent an hour fighting a forklift because I couldn't control the fucking thing properly. But but it was cool because that was the first time I ever played a game where they put, since it took place in '86, they put the actual arcade games like Hang On. He used to have this motorcycle, right? In '86, when Super Hang On came out in the arcades, it had this red motorcycle you could sit on and actually lean left and right, which was a huge deal. I mean, everyone was crowded around the fucking arcade when I went to go see Ghostbusters to play that game. So that was cool, and the level of attention to detail. You go to a candy shop and see all the different candies. There were actual stuff that existed in '86. It wasn't made up. So that was the first time we got something like a Grand Theft Auto with Shenmue, and then it bankrupted Sega. It just Shenmue bankrupted Sega. I think it cost them 60 to 100 million at the time to
Yeah,
make.
it's actually started on the Saturn too, which was pretty crazy if you've seen those old like tech demos of the game from the beginning. And
It started on Sega Saturn, then went to Dreamcast. So
yeah,
and it bankrupted Sega. And then they managed
yeah.
to make a sequel, which got ported over here on the original Xbox. Microsoft paid for that, and then Shenmue went away. So when it was brought back, I'll let you know, Ashley, there are Shenmue fans you have not seen the level of dedication. Like, Wesley, the Shenmue fans made this happen, basically, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, they basically convinced I forget his name, the director, Yu Suzuki.
Hmm.
They right or wrong, they convinced him we can do it, and fuck, they did it. Like 6 million hardcore fans went for a Shenmue 3, so I'm super excited. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to finish it because I'll be playing Witcher 3 for the next 10 fucking years. Like that game will not end. Like it's challenging me, but I will never be able to finish The Witcher.
Yeah,
Like
it is a long game. Witcher, I finished it, but I gave up in Skellige. I was like, I'm not getting all these dots. There's just too many, and they're all
which
over the
is
water, and
yeah,
sailing sucks.
which is sad because it's just there's I wish I mean I like that there's content like games coming out all the time, but when you have these games that are like 200 hours plus, it's like you just can't get to all of them and you end up missing something, you know?
what do you think, really quickly? What do you feel? Wesley, then Ashley. What do you feel is the acceptable $60 price range length of game? Length of game for $60.
Mm, I think like 10 hours, give or take, is acceptable for me. If everything's done really well and the story's, fantastic and great, I'm okay with that.
Ashley?
I'm thinking like uh, probably more like 15 to 20 for me. But also, I don't have the money to just like, I want my money's worth out of these games, like so that's just my opinion. Now, I mean, when you get games like Zelda and Destiny and like Borderlands, you do end up getting your money's worth. So I guess it just depends on, what games you're picking and what your preference is.
But I always feel sometimes, and The Witcher actually has good content, but most games stretch the shit out, you know,
Yeah.
to give you this hours of content you don't need. And I feel like I think 15 hours is like the sweet spot at a $60 range. Because I think
Yeah.
someone had to have done, there has to be a diagram somewhere where the quality of content versus the price, like there has to be this magical sweet spot,
Right.
of
I know that some people were really mad at the Order 1886 because they said it was only like a 5 hour game, 5, 6 hour game. Like I think they just thought it
If
was
if
just a little
if
bit too
even
short.
that, if even that.
Yeah, maybe less.
If you play with a guide, you can platinum that game, and just to find all the little, because all there is little collectibles. So you could go through one time in that, like, 4 to 6 hours. If you're like not the greatest gamer, you may die here and there. But
Or
it
you're
was.
just like
Go
really
I borrowed it
thorough.
from a friend and took it down in like 2 sittings, and
Yeah.
two very lazy sittings, because I generally will game 4 or 5 hours straight
Straight
sometimes.
It
through
would,
podcasts
it would
sometimes.
probably take me a
Hmm.
few, but I'm really thorough when I go. I like go everywhere. Like any room, I'm like a detective in games. I scope out everything, so it probably would take me longer.
You gotta clean the levels, right?
You
Yes,
you
I
may
know.
like that game then, because you actually get to like pick up objects and then like rotate them and see all the shininess of it. So you can actually, be a detective and be like, I like this
Right.
pocket watch.
Yep.
Oh, look at the inscription on the back. It's
Yeah.
very
And
detailed.
and there's some other
And
character in the. Oh, go ahead.
I would say then you just put it down and walk away.
Exactly. And there's like some character in the game, hey, Nate, let's go, let's go. No, no, I'm gonna go the other way, it's just like for 10 minutes. But
I
anyway.
really liked it. There. I'm bummed that the story just kind of ends, and that game was somewhat of a failure, and so we're not gonna see any more of the Order
It
anytime
was
soon, if
this
ever.
generation's Lair. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that game we all thought, whoa, it'll be like Rogue Squadron with dragons. Son, sign me up. I can't wait. Gonna fucking blast. Fucking, then you get it. You're like, what is this game? Like, it's killing me. You can't control it. It goes nowhere. You just want to control the fucking thing. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
I'll blame the six-axis controller on that one, but yeah, the Order is just a beautiful tech demo. I mean, I ended up buying the game after I beat it just to have it.
Yeah.
I found a collector's edition at Best Buy for like $15. So I was like, okay,
Huh. Yeah.
give me a little statue of the dude. Sounds
We
good.
got time for one more topic. Ashley, it's your turn. You can pick anything you want on there.
Okay. I'll be really quick about this one, but I was just gonna say Destiny Taken King, like year two improvements. Now, Rob, have you played Destiny at all?
No.
No. Okay. I
No.
didn't think so from last week.
No.
And
No.
I have
Wesley,
though.
you
I
have.
probably I put over 100 hours into it.
Okay, good. So we're on the same boat here. Now, Destiny, the first one, there was a whole bunch of like materials that you could collect from each planet, spin metal, iron relic, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And I saw over time, the problem was is you'd wind up with like 200 spin metal, and you're like, great, I got all this spin metal, but I can't spend it. And like you could every now and then powering up your weapons or armor, you could spend like five spin metal or something weird like that. But they're always overabundance of spin metal. And
I always
what
found that I always had like hundreds of spin metal, and then I need iron relic, and I have like five.
right, yeah, stuff like that. And in year two, what I liked is from you could join a faction, whether it be New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, whatever, and you could use that spin metal to buy ranking, from those guys, which is awesome. And it was a great problem to solve, in my opinion. You can also do it with the weapon parts too, because you get an overabundance of those as well.
Hmm.
So that's what I really liked about the game. The first one that comes to mind there. So, anything for you that you saw that were any improvements? You played Taken King, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
went through that.
and
Or
all the yeah. So
I thought they mean obviously they did the things most people talked about, a better job with storytelling, creating
that's
like
it. There you
characters like Cade Six and stuff, and actually having people, on I haven't played that game in a month, and I already forgot everything.
yeah,
But on the main like hub place, just having people there that you actually are kind of interested in. It's not just you run up to the vendor and you get your
right,
crap and you run away. Like they actually have interesting banter and stuff, and the missions were more interesting. And Dreadnought was while it wasn't like the biggest environment, it packed all these like secrets and with these keys and figuring out all these little things to find new stuff, which was intriguing. There was all this mystery to that place, which I really liked.
right, yeah, and yeah, there's a couple parts where they're like, hey, you're gonna get a little platformy here and jump onto these little, imaginary portal or whatever floating masses of land, and you're like, okay. But anyway, yeah, I'll agree with that. The storytelling was way better, and I mean, I still half the time I'm like, what's going on? Okay, but at least I like kind of like the characters seem more real to me. So,
It came out last year, right? The first version
uh,
of this?
yeah, it came out. What was it? September of 2014, and then
So
Taken
you,
King came out a year later.
so you got 8 more years of game still, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
Well, that
huh?
10-year plan for
Hmm.
Bungie, they spent like 3 or 4 of those years developing
Oh,
Destiny. So
so
we're already
we're in
like
year six technically.
we're like 5 or 6 years in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard
And
time doing the math.
it just keeps adding on too. That's the funny thing about this game. It just adds on.
I am a little disappointed with the lack of clearness of what's going on with year two. I mean, we had we have not seen any new raids, any new strikes, nothing since the game has come. And
Yeah,
at this
I
point,
mean,
we
yeah,
already had an expansion with the first one. They're doing like, they did the Sparrow Racing League and they did the Halloween event. And I just saw that they're going to have a Valentine's Day event.
hmm, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm
Hmm.
still kind of discovering everything since I started playing like not even a month ago. Because I mean, I'm late. I'm always late to the Destiny game. About 6 months late, or not six, whatever, 4. But I'm still kind of just playing all the Crucible match games and all that. Just kind of figuring out. They're fun. I like them.
Well, when it comes to an MMO, always give it 12 months minimum before
Yeah,
you join on because one, you don't know if it's going to make it. Two, it might go free to play. Three, the
right.
content it takes takes a
Well,
year.
when I played the first game, let's see, I waited. I don't think I started playing it till about May or June of 2015. So it had been about 8 months that it had been out. So I kind of waited then.
You didn't miss much. I mean, like the raid wasn't even ready for like the first month of that
Yeah,
game, and I got it at launch, and I played with a couple friends, and we played it for a good. We finished like the main story of whatever that is, and then we stopped. And it wasn't until all the expansions were out and the hype of Taken King that we got back into it and started playing it a lot
yeah.
more. And then we played Taken King when that came out, pretty straight
Well,
through.
yeah. Well, see, I think I had started playing when everybody kind of dropped off the bandwagon, and I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I just came out and all the deals or the expansions are ready to go, so I didn't have to wait for those at least. So
So thumbs up, Ashley.
yeah, yeah,
Thumbs
thumbs
up.
up. I like it. I mean, I liked the first Destiny. I wasn't hard on it. But it's beautiful environments, so
It's like
that,
the
that makes me happy.
smoothest shooter you'll ever play. Like the
Mm,
combat is fantastic.
yes.
Like it may get repetitive, but it's like the best first person shooter on console, like hands down in terms of controls and just everything is like butter on that game.
Nice.
I'll agree. I'll agree. Yeah.
All right, so one more. I'll bring it up. I talked about it last time. I want to talk a little bit more about Stella Glow, then we'll roll out. Because I got Wesley here. I can finally talk to Wesley. Wesley knows all about. Whereas I know nothing about Destiny. I know a lot more about Stella Glow. Uh, I played more of it. I want to give you some impressions and kind of just walk through what the game is. It's a strategy RPG, folks. Kind of like Tactics and Final Fantasy Tactics and Ogre Tactics and Shining Force, but with cute little girls and polygons and nifty stuff. Um, I was talking to Wesley about the demo on the 3DS. There's a demo on 3DS for Stella Glow, and I want to warn you folks, if you remotely like the game after playing the demo for about 3 minutes, just stop playing it and go buy it because the whole front part of the game is the demo. No fucking way to skip around it. Like no way to transfer the save from the demo, to your game. So like I had to painfully slog through another 30 minutes. The game does have an auto button, so you can click a button and it auto plays the cutscenes. So the cutscenes feel more like a visual novel slash anime, limited anime kind of feel to it. One of the things I like too that all the cutscenes are drawn, they're hand drawn and colored, but they're in 3D. So the backgrounds have like layers of depth to them, and then as you start to be able to travel around towns and castles, you can pick a different area and it zooms into the artwork and then goes in, and it has a really great. Like it feels what Shining Force kind of felt like in a way, with building a team and a little army, and you're going around trying to solve, these problems in the kingdom and stuff. It's a fairly generically simple storyline. It's nothing terribly complex. But the game's just beautiful. The music is fantastic. The battles are satisfying. The animations are perfect. But I will say, if you're not up for 30 minutes of anime cutscenes, anime-ish, I would say motion comic, style cutscenes, probably don't want to get into it if that isn't your thing. Surprisingly, these days I play it like right before I go to bed, like an hour, and then I just tuck in, and just go to my magical little kingdom. So I don't mind the actual storytelling. Wesley, what do you? Because you were telling me that this reminded you of the game we talked about last time with Summon Night, right? It's a very similar gameplay.
Yeah, just so it's a bright and colorful, strategy RPG that's, is has, excuse me, has a solid, RPG mechanic behind it, but is filled with a lot of story. Some nights very story heavy. You'll play a battle and then you'll go through 30 minutes of dialogue. And then you'll go through another 15 minutes of dialogue as it switches scenes, and then you'll get into like a really intense hour-long battle. And yeah, that's what Stella Globe reminds me of. I really like the demo too. I'm kind of bummed that the developer that was like their swan song. Imagi Poch, or I don't know how to
Imaji
say that.
Pucci?
Yeah.
Imaji Pucci? Is that it? There are no more
um,
games from these folks? Like they're
yeah,
done?
they folded. And
No! Wait, really?
yeah, they went out of business. So the other games they've done was the Luminous Arc series on the DS. That was another popular strategy RPG series. I haven't played them. My wife went through the first two. She really liked those games. Um, they made games I'm playing actually right now on my PSP is Black Rock Shooter, the game. It's kind of RPG-ish, but it's mainly like kind of like Sin and Punishment, I guess. Kind of like a rail shooter. You get locked
Okay.
into these like turn-based battles, but you can slide around the map and shoot, and everything's got hit points and whatnot. They did one of my favorite PS3 games, which it's a horrible game, but it's so bad I love it, which was Time and Eternity. If you remember
I
that
know
game.
that game. Yeah.
It was like it was trying to be an anime RPG. Like the characters look
Visually stunning.
like
Yeah.
they look, yeah, but the animation's horrible.
Absolutely horrible. Yeah. The minute it moves, you're like, what? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
like in pictures, you look like you're looking at a scene straight out of any kind of animation or something, and then you see it move. Yeah, it's
It's like 2 frames per second. It's ridiculously bad. Like, yeah.
and the game's slightly pervy and just weird and whatnot. But
What game's Kirby?
Times of
like,
Eternity.
Which
in the
one?
games,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
just saying,
okay.
Yeah,
So,
time of
all Japanese games are pervy.
a
yeah.
little bit. Like, but whatever. Folks. I have a deep love for. Don't finish that sentence. For low poly games, all right? I know what you're all thinking. I like the low poly aesthetic. I like paper crafts, and not when they're just too flat, like a flat 2D thing that's moving across, but actually like simply constructed figures. It dates back to the first time I saw the Final Fantasy tech demo on Nintendo 64, and there were like these low poly characters, and it would move around, and that eventually became Final Fantasy 7, and Final Fantasy 9 was like that penultimate version of those little kind of chibi characters with that look, and every year we get further away from low poly. But now we sort of have a gaming ecosphere where all styles can coexist simultaneously. Breaks my heart that Imagipucci is not making any more games, man. Damn, because this is really
so
good. Like,
Stella Glow is only on the 3DS.
yeah, it's a 3DS only game, and I
Yeah.
got out of the. I recommend this if you're gonna handheld game. If that's something you're into, especially if you travel on airplanes or you go anywhere, the 3DS XL is worth every dime. The new one that does
Yeah.
motion tracking, it's flawless. Like it, I love it
I don't
so
know
much.
how I do on track. I get motion sickness very easily, so
Mm,
I don't know though. I don't know
don't
if
do
looking
it.
at a
Like
screen.
if you get
Yeah, no,
motion sickness.
I've thrown up before. That's just bad.
So, but I mean, the 3D isn't necessary here, but it's lovely when you do have a 3D environment and like the halos kind of, that there's a dimension to that. You get these, and they put a lot of little touches on the battlefield, like little butterflies will circle around the foliage and little
Huh.
grasses will sway, and that's normally you don't see that in these kinds of games. It's just like a texture or a flat piece of
Right.
rock or something. So,
Well, like even in that brings it up. Even in Transistor, like if you got really close, like if the buildings are really close to the screen, sometimes pigeons would like fly away or something. Like it's the same kind of like interaction you would see like if like a building was really close to the screen. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know. Like what you're saying, things like that happened.
it's those little
So
touches that go a long
yeah,
way. Yeah.
exactly.
So
So
go ahead with it.
I just want to ask you. So Stella Glow, you said the music's good, but isn't that like that kind of like the big hook of the game? Like these witches sing, or
Yeah, but the songs aren't playing all the time. Like only when a witch. See, no one in the world can sing. People can't sing. Only witches can. And so there's basically like Wizard of Oz. Instead of like north, east, south, and west. There's the elements. There's a witch of destruction. There's a witch of water, a witch of earth, a witch of fire, a witch of heart. No, I'm joking. But it's the power of heart that gets me. And so those songs play when you meet up with the witch, and they're nifty. There's a big anime theme that kind of goes with that. But the actual JRPG-ish music that plays when you're in a town, when you go into battle, I'm very picky when it comes to that music. Case in point, if you go on the 3DS eShop right now, there's these really cheap kind of quick RPGs. You can download demos on like $3 or $4 each, and one looks like a tactics game, one looks like a Suikoden game, and you play them, and the animations are really sped up. The battle systems are like they barely made it in RPG Maker. You get the feeling, and the music is just sucks. And for me, so like case in point, the music for Tactics Ogre is phenomenal. The PSP remake, the one they did, the HD remake where they remastered all the music and stuff, is just a phenomenal soundtrack. Hizoshi Sakamoto or whatever, and then uh, Final Fantasy Tactics, same guy. So like, I just think like there's this, they seem to get their music, like over here, if we get music, it's Lord of the Rings ish. dun 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 dun, with the drums and shit, and it's like, oh, it's so melodramatic. But I like that sense of adventure, because deep down inside, I just want to go to a JRPG world and hunt slimes and get gold and treasure. And I don't really have a gun fetish, Ashley. No, but Wesley's the worst, man. That guy is vicious. So actually, you breach both worlds. Ashley plays the hardcore shooters. You play both, Wesley, right?
I
You
do.
branch.
I play
Huh?
everything.
No,
I
you don't.
just right
So.
right now I'm playing a lot of hardcore shooters. It's just how it
Mm-hmm.
is.
And you're looking
I'm playing
forward to hard.
Rayman next, okay? So calm
I'll give
down.
you props. You're the only one I know out there drawing Rayman fan art for no reason. Like you threw down an
Or
Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
And I was like, there you go, girl.
Nice.
Like there you go.
I'm
Like,
reaching deep into the pot. Like
for no reason, just because you love it. Like you gotta
exactly.
appreciate it. I have a quick question. We gotta wrap this up for real, folks. Ashley, when did you first play Earthworm Jim? Like, did you find out from the cartoon or the gaming? Did you just see some shit on the internet? Like,
Probably more from the cartoon. Now I don't think I ever played the original. I've watched it. I don't think I ever played it. Now I did play the 3D version on the
poor,
N64.
poor
Ooh.
you.
And yes, and I barely remember it. I was like 7, so but no, I remember the show. In fact, I have the DVD. I've seen all the shows and I just watch it every now and then. So
If you do get a chance I guess you'd probably emulation these days the way it works out. I don't think they're available on the
They
yeah,
store.
remade the first Earthworm Jim
they
on
did, and I did play that
Xbox
for
360.
I played that for a literal second one time, and so
It's worth spending an hour on each game just to see the animations they did because all those are hand drawn and then sprite. They had to do them in the
yeah,
sprites and stuff. But there's so many little animations in those levels.
Yeah, just like the idle animations or the things like when you hang over an edge
I
and
love
you get
idle animations.
Yeah.
Those are
It's a very creative game. Earthworm Jim. I have a giant Earthworm Jim picture that Wesley and Ashley's pictures are blocking right now over there, signed by Doug Tenable. I did get a chance to meet him when I was working at Play Magazine. Apparently, I didn't know this at the time. I had asked Dave Halverson, who ran Play Magazine, was he was friends with Tenable and those guys, so he'd go over there all the time to see the game as it was being made, and I guess they were really influenced by Dave's crazy sense of humor. So Dave had a lot of influence on the game in terms of its tone. So he actually in his office had all like a lot of the hand-drawn level sketches in design. They'd sketch them on notepads, and he had them all on his walls. They gave them to him after the
awesome.
yeah. So I was like, whoa, really, Dave? Amazing. Why don't you make an Earthworm Jim? And never happened. So.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I want to see more Earthworm Jim stuff. I don't know if it's coming past, but I don't know. I just miss it. Like because as a kid, I would see the show come on. I mean that's all that I had really, just kind of being at that age. And that's where I discovered it, and I just remember being captivated by it. I was just like, "This is crazy, love
Here's a
it."
good question: if Tenapple got a bunch of those guys together and kickstarted a new Earthworm Jim game, how much do you think they could raise?
Oh gosh.
Right. Think they could break 1 million? Probably, right?
I would think, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't. I think people are just like over that kind of sense of humor. I mean, you saw it
How
happen with
much
like I
did
know,
how much did Ukulele make? They broke 600 grand, right? They
but
almost made it.
that's the Banjo Kazooie and that stuff is a little bit. It's a little bit more friendly to children, and Earthworm Jim's kind of crude. You
It
know,
is.
Queen Slug for a butt. A giant maggot as like your last boss,
Yeah!
and
I don't know, Wesley. I get a lot of requests for the Earthworm Jims. Like when I saw Prince and stuff, you're like, "Oh my God, Jim's my man," So
Yeah.
I don't. I think if Tenapple went to Kickstarter, he could do 1 million. But
well, we'd have
um,
to get Perry involved too. So
Dave Perry, I'm all on board with that. What's Perry
yeah.
doing these days? He was being
He was
he
well,
sold
he was doing Gaikai, and
sold
he like
that.
sold that to Sony.
Yeah, maybe he is. We don't know what Perry is up to. So, all right, we did a good job. We talked for an hour. We talked too much. It's enough show. Wesley, where can we find you on the internet?
Twitter's probably the best place at Wesley Rusher, Ruscher.
Perfect. And Ashley, where can people find you on the
All
internet?
right. I'm Gang Feather, and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
And Twitch, eventually. You should stream your gaming. You'd make a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you could just watch
I
her
do.
rage and
Yeah.
table flip people and shit.
I thought about it. I'm just like, I don't know.
Alrighty, folks. Well, it was a good show. Everyone had a good time. As always, please, support by subscribing to the channel, sharing the episodes whenever you can. Join me at daily sketchcraft.com. Take you right to Facebook, Twitter at sketchcraft. It's like Minecraft. Sketch CRAFT. Name of the podcast.com. Appreciate it, folks. As always, Sketchcraft is filmed in front of a live internet audience. Always. And we will join you next week on the next Sketchcraft Live. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Hit the stop button.